What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna tell you about our scam story and where we are in that whole process. Okay, so you guys might have heard me talking about this in random different videos. That's the whole reason why I started budgeting this year and doing the cash envelope system. And it's because in December when we bought this house that we're living in, we fell victim to a scam and lost $28,000, which was our down payment for this house. The reason that I'm going to tell you guys this story is because myself and my husband, we didn't even realize that this was a thing that could happen. Like, we didn't know to look for these issues when we were buying a house. And so I definitely want to share our story in order for the word to just kind of get out there for you guys to make sure that you double check all of your things when you're transferring money or whatever you're doing. And so that way you don't lose out on the money that you have worked hard to earn. So just this past fall, we decided that we were going to move to different cities, and we actually had a house to sell and a house to buy. So we ended up putting our house on the market, and we got an offer right away within the first day, which was great because this house we already knew that we wanted to buy, but we were just kind of waiting for our house to sell. All of our closings were coming up in December, and we had been saving for a down payment for a house for the last couple years. Now, we both work at a college that has a really cool like home loan type of program. And so we actually have our home loan through that program. And what's cool about that is they give you the lowest interest rate like ever that's on the market. And so we actually have a very low interest rate below 2%, which we were super excited about because even though this house is bigger and it was more expensive, it was actually going to be the same or a little bit less for our mortgage every month, which is like a win-win. We also had decided to buy this house because we wanted to live closer to our jobs, whereas before we were driving an hour, so we were gonna save gas money and just have a better house in general, a newer house in general. We were just so excited. It felt like all the pieces were falling together and this was gonna be like our Christmas present to ourselves. Now, with doing that home loan program, you actually have to put down a 10% down payment in order to get the home loan and in order to do it properly. So we knew that we could afford that 10% down payment. And so we were going to use all of our money that we had saved up in order to pay for that 10% down payment. Now, we were closing on this house about a week before we were gonna close on our house that we were selling. So there was going to be a period of time where we only had a couple $100s to our name because we were taking everything that we had in order to pay for this down payment, but then we were actually making a profit from our house that we were selling, but we weren't going to get that until a week later. So we were very, very nervous about that just because going a week with only having like $300 to your name is pretty scary actually, just in case anything would like fall through. That was definitely kind of a stressful time, but we did have a couple credit cards just in case, you know, something would happen, which it did. So we go ahead and our closing for this house is on a Friday and it is in the morning. So my husband went and he had received the wiring instructions from our lawyer and our buyer agent. We had a buyer agent that we were paying separately, and then we also had the lawyer that you buy the house from. I forget exactly what they're called, like a house attorney or something like that. I forget. But Alvin had received an email that had the wiring information a couple days before closing. Now, this had the account number that we needed to wire that $28,000 to. And so Alvin had like saved that information and, you know, had been talking to both of those people, the lawyer and the buyer agent. Then a couple days later, I think it was the day before we were closing, another email came through from the exact same people that we had been talking to that said, hey Alvin, like actually a couple numbers changed, like this is actually the new wiring information, we just had to update it. Here you go, we'll see you on closing Friday at whatever time it was, 10 o'clock, I don't remember. So Alvin had responded to that. They had responded back to him. This is two different emails, like our lawyer email and our buyer agent email, both responding to Alvin. So we go to close on Friday. We're super excited. Alvin goes to the bank. He is able to wire that money. So $28,000 leaves our account in order to go to the wiring number that had gotten emailed to us that has been printed out. Then we go to closing. So we meet up with our lawyer and we bring the receipts from routing the numbers, we sign off on the documents, and we even ask our lawyer and say, hey, do you need these receipts because we went and wired the money Do you need them? Do you need to look at them? Whatever. She's like, no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm sure it'll hit the count. Like, you're good to go. You guys can just wait for the buyer agent to give you the keys to the house, and then you can go ahead. So we were walking out after, you know, signing all the paperwork and stuff, and the $28,000 was pending in our account. Like, you could see that it was leaving the account, which we both had laughed and made the joke. We were like, doesn't that make you feel sick? You know, like $28,000 is like leaving. That's crazy. So we do get the key to the house from our buyer agent, and we actually like, we have friends that live right across the street from us. So we actually had come over here because we weren't entirely sure if we could move in yet, because technically that whole process hadn't been finished yet. But the guy that actually sold the house is actually the builder of the house, and he had driven through the neighborhood and stopped to talk to us. He was like, it's fine, just go ahead. So we end up like coming into the house, cleaning it all. I actually have a whole moving vlog about it. If you want to check that out, I'll put it here. So we were cleaning, we moved stuff in. The very next day on Saturday was when we were gonna get the actual moving truck. So we didn't move any like big items in. By 4 o'clock on Friday though, we still didn't get a call that said, hey, like we totally got that money. And so Alvin had called to make sure, and he was like, hey, like, are we okay still to move in? Like, you know, that money is still pending. You didn't call us to say, hey, you know, we got it, we can go through. And they were like, oh, sometimes it takes a while, so we can just check back on Monday, but you guys are good to go. Part of me looking back thinks it was definitely fishy that like they didn't receive the money yet by 4 o'clock on Friday when we had wired that money at 9 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, hindsight is all 20/20. So we really just didn't know that something was amiss. So we move everything in. Literally, Alvin and I are the kinds of people that like, we move in, we put everything up on the walls, we put everything where it's supposed to be. We don't have kids or anything, and I'm kind of a minimalist, so it's really easy for us to move. So we went ahead and did that, and by Monday, everything was up, everything was ready. Alvin gets a call on Monday that they still have not received the money. And they say, we're gonna need that money from you. That's when Alvin starts doing some research, and he like replies back and says, hey, this is the routing number that I sent the money to. Like, this is the receipt that I sent the money to. I don't understand why it's not there yet. Our lawyer goes ahead and looks at that routing number, and turns out after piecing all of the pieces together, someone had hacked into, we don't know what, maybe Alvin's email. The lawyer says it wasn't her email, but how would we ever know that? But somebody had hacked in, and they changed 2 of the letters of the email. So when you hover over an email in like an account, obviously it has the email like with the name and stuff, but if you hover over that, it shows the actual address where it came from. So that initial name was the correct email address of our lawyer and our buyer agent, but when you hovered over it, it had switched 2 of the letters. So literally, if it was like, I don't know, if my name was Megan, maybe it would be M-G-E-A-N, you know what I mean? So you have to like really pay close attention. So it turns out that a scammer had figured out that we were closing, figured out how much money. I don't know if it's because they had looked at Alvin's email, if they got the information from where we work and the home loan program that we went through, or if they got the information from the lawyer. But somehow they knew exactly when we were closing, they knew all of the account information in order to send it to us, and they gave us a routing number, changed the name and everything, but it actually went, that $28,000 went to a Wells Fargo in California. So after finding all this information out, me and Alvin are literally super stressed. We're, you know, about to throw up and just, you know, how could this happen? Like literally, we're buying a house. How could this happen? How could we have taken all of our money and sent it to someone we don't even know that we could possibly never get it back again, and we have like $300 to our name right now? The crazy thing is that no one actually really cared that that happened. They just said, hey, you're living in a house that you don't own. You need to pay the money, like right now. Like, where's the money at? You need to get it for us, which is so crazy to think. We called so many different people. There is no type of insurance that we know of from all of the research that we've been doing that would save you from something like this. So, you know, you pay so much money to everything, insurance for everything. There's no money that could save us from this happening to us. So thankfully, the guy that sold us the house, the builder, he didn't need that money right away. And after telling him the whole story and going through it all, he ended up giving us 90 days in order to pay that down payment, because he didn't even see any of the money from the house because we didn't pay the the down payment yet. So the college that we work at couldn't even give us the rest of that loan to give to him. So he saw zero money from us, and we were living in the house that he sold that wasn't actually ours. We had literally moved everything in. We were super freaking out because we had thought that everything had gone through. Over the weekend, we had bought like a lamp and things to hang things on the wall and stuff like that. So we had racked up some money on the credit cards that we had because we, thought that all of this was gonna go smoothly. We thought we were gonna be closing on our old house. We were gonna get the money back. We were gonna make a profit. We thought all of these things. And so we had already started racking money up on the credit card in order to pay off when our house sold, not knowing that this was going to happen. Our credit card doesn't even have a limit where we could pay for a $28,000 down payment. So thankfully we did contact our bank and we were able to get a loan for that $28,000 in order to pay for the down payment. The problem is that actually has a 9% interest rate. It's a 30-year loan, just like it would be if you were getting a house. And over 30 years, if you pay that 9% interest rate, we're gonna be paying an extra $18,000. Now, hold up. We lost $28,000. We have to get a loan for $28,000 and pay $18,000 in interest. Do you know how much money that we're losing out on for something that was a scam? It's incredibly ridiculous. So that's part of the reason why I am hardcore budgeting now, because my goal is to pay off this $28,000 loan, which we shouldn't have. We had that money and it literally got taken from us. So I'm trying to pay off that loan within this year because I don't want to pay all of that money for an interest rate. We're just losing money by the day, by the minute, by the year. It's ridiculous. When this all happened, we contacted our local sheriff, we contacted the FBI, we contacted the bank, we contacted every person and thing we could contact in order to get our money back. Now, this is what? March, it's like close to the end of March, and this happened at the very beginning of December. I think this was like December 4th or something like that. We have not seen a single penny back yet. Supposedly they're still working on it. Supposedly they're still looking for our money. They, are researching and investigating all of the accounts that it possibly could have gone into. But the problem with scammers is that they have it go to an account, but there's thousands of other accounts that they immediately have it go into. So we haven't seen any of that money back at all. Like, we lost that money and it's gone. Now, I don't have very much hope to see that money back. A lot of the articles that I've read says that you're not gonna see that money back. They do say to constantly be checking up on the FBI and whoever is investigating this, because this does happen so often. And after this happened to us, I went through and read a bunch of articles that this is happening more and more often. So that's why I'm making this video, is because this is incredibly wrong for someone to do to somebody. I mean, we're not rich. We literally worked for that money and it got taken from us. It's not like that was a penny because we have millions of dollars. That was all of our money. That was for our house. That was our whole savings, just gone. Poof, never to be seen again. So where does that leave us now? Well, thankfully, we did sell our old house. Nothing went wrong with that because we were really worried. We were also really worried that someone was going to contact and pretend that they were us in order to get that money routed to them. Could you imagine that if we lost out on the money from us selling a house? So we did receive money back from selling that house, but we kept that for our emergency fund because, like I said, we had $300 to our name. So that money is our emergency fund, which is why I am not using it to pay off that loan, because we need to have some type of cushion in case something would happen. And so even though the loan does have a 9% interest rate, it's just smarter for us to keep that in case of an emergency and to pay off the loan as quickly as possible, even with the interest that we're gonna be paying over this year. Now, what's incredibly frustrating is that there were multiple different things that we could have done differently or that we could have noticed in order to catch this process before it happened. So number one, it's ridiculous that the Gmail account that Alvin was using didn't flag anything as spam. I feel like Google could have been way more thorough in, I don't know, how they do the email. Like, it makes us wonder how safe our Gmail account is, knowing that it didn't even flag it as spam. It just it thought it was our lawyer and buyer agent. Another thing is I'm incredibly disappointed in our lawyer for not wanting to take a look at that receipt when we were there signing the paperwork, because if she would have looked at that, she would have realized that that account wasn't the account that it was supposed to go to. And at that point in time, that money was pending. So we could have easily gotten that back before it was completely gone. And another thing that I think is the fault of our lawyer is, after doing a lot of research, I hear that lawyers are supposed to only be giving you wiring account information through the phone. You're supposed to talk to them and they're supposed to be right there talking to you while you're at the bank, giving you the account information, so that way this doesn't happen. This has been going on so much that that's why they don't send wiring information through your email. So if you are buying anything, don't let that information go through your email, because your email can be hacked. You need to be talking on the phone with your actual lawyer or person that you're communicating with in order to do this transaction. Now, does it matter whose fault is whose? Does it matter that I'm pointing fingers? No, it doesn't, because we don't have money in order to even start a case for this. There'd be no reason for us to go after a lawyer and saying that she was at fault. But it's just incredibly frustrating that us not knowing anything like this, not knowing that this happens, that we had to deal with the brunt of it, that we just missed out. Everyone else just cares about where the money is. They just want to get paid. They don't care that we have no money left. But at least we know that this happens. At least I can tell you guys about it. Hopefully that this prevents this happening from you guys. Maybe more people will be aware. And so all we can do is learn from this experience and hope that it doesn't ever happen again. Now, I have said to Alvin before, I said it would be really, really cool if this whole entire year, you know, I'm budgeting really hard, which I actually do love that I learned how to budget really well. The cash envelope system that I'm using is absolutely amazing. I am loving every single second of it. So that is a positive thing that's come out of this. But it would be really, really cool if, say we did pay off this loan this whole entire year, we budgeted everything, and then at the end of the year, they found the money and gave it back to us. Now, that would be really cool. That would be like perfect, but that's probably not gonna happen. That's just in my dreams. Okay, so that's it. That's the whole story so far. If there is a part 2 later on, maybe where we do get the money back or we hear something else, I can definitely update you guys. But thanks for listening, and I hope that you have learned something from this, and please just make sure that something like this does not happen to you. Okay, but that's it. I will see you guys very soon in another video. Bye, everyone.